so that we'll have the recording. But just, just want to congratulate you on getting through this. We have 2 more weeks and then we'll be done. So I applaud you for just sticking in there and trying, and that's what it takes to be a good business, a strong business. Every day might not be shiny and all of that, but you still keep pushing and persevering, and that's what makes a successful business, is somebody that keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and finding a way if the other way doesn't work. And so congratulations on getting through now 4 weeks after today. And then we'll get into week 5 and 6, which are going to be great because Ria's going to be showing us how to make ourselves look pretty and beautiful and attractive and all of that. So, and that's also a key component, especially in this place of, pandemic. It's important that we look the part virtually. Sometimes people can't meet you face to face. So you got to figure out how to market and how to promote yourselves on a virtual, because that may be where your audience is, or on a website or whatever. So we're going to be excited to learn about stuff like that today. So I'm going to have Ray for some of this session, if he has some comments based upon this week and last week. And then I'm going to close it out with financial projections, and then also our service scholarship information that I have. So go ahead, Ray.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, so take that under advisement. I wanted just to let you know that I did watch the session we did on Tuesday, and I took notes on what everyone said in terms of input on the questions for the case study. And then I rolled them up into a Word document. So you have, I think you've got the document there in as a resource. Tamara's going to pull it up just briefly. I'm not going to go through the document. It's pretty self-explanatory. You all are on the session on Tuesday, so you kind of heard the things that are written there as well. But as you can see, there are 6 questions. The information that we discussed in terms of the answers are in the bold print on the Word document, and you can just read them. When you have time. It's not going to take long to read them, and I think there's nothing there that's unusual or different from what we talked about on Tuesday. So let me just ask, without giving you the time to read the document, if there's any questions that you may have that relate to what we discussed about the case study, or what we discussed in terms of the linkage, which I think is really important, because all of these things that we're doing with respect to a business plan and the financial support, in terms of your financial capacity and the financial or the financing that you need, for expansion and things relating to it, as well as the projections that are related to that. All those things are very interrelated. Okay, so you'll see that if you miscategorize something in your financials and put it in the wrong category, it's going to throw everything off. Okay, so the nice thing, the thing that I really like about LivePlan is those financial elements are all interrelated. Okay, so if you do miscategorize something, all you got to do is fix it, and it fixes it for everything else that's interrelated to it. So that makes life a little bit easier than having to kind of reinvent the wheel with respect to all the different financial elements that you have in a business plan and recalculate everything over and over and over again. So with that, I want to just offer that, you know, as you start getting in, you know, we can talk about this stuff all day long, but, you know, the real test is doing it. All right. So as you start implementing things, you know, don't get bogged down. Do what you can, and the things that you're feeling that you're not comfortable with or you're having problems with, that's the time. That's the time to get a hold of me or Tamara or Ria, so that we can, you know, we can move ahead. Okay, do what you can. Don't worry about things you can't do, because we will be able to help you with those things. And if there's a problem, I found in many cases there's workarounds. Okay. If you've got, you know, if you've got a lot of different products with respect to what you're selling, and it gets complicated in terms of the margin on each product, there's ways to work around that. And so we can do that. Tamara's going to show you a case study. I was talking to Ria this morning. Tamara's going to show you a case study that it relates to cupcakes. And I was telling Tamara that that's really kind of sweet. So I think you'll enjoy the case study. I have other case studies that are relevant for different product lines. So use those of you who are in some kind of food service activity. I can give you some, you know, not really. I'm not going to give you a work study, but I can give you some examples to use with respect to unit pricing and profit margins on your cost of the food that you have to buy and sell, and how that all works out in terms of statistical data relates to what the industry is doing. So with that, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to turn this over to the cupcake lady.
Thanks, Ray. So yeah, I'm going to just show you a few of the PowerPoints or the PowerPoint that I have. So it won't be the full thing, but it is attached and will be in the platform, so that you can always pull it up and see it. So I'm going to go to I'm going to close this out and actually go to the platform. So here on the platform, in our list of documents, you'll see something that says financial forecasting. And so that's the PowerPoint that I'm going to go to. So you can also follow along with me, or either you can pull it up later if you like. But this is the document. It's really just talking about, we've been talking about this, Ray's been talking about this, how to have some projections, some forecasting, so that then when troubles come, you have a plan A, B, and C. And that you can, and when we talk about pivot, that's basically pivoting, because you're able to kind of figure out your plan A, B, and C. And so I'm just going to go through a few of these. We do this one several times throughout the year, talking about financial forecasting. But basically, you know, in this case study, this is just an assumption that this person has a cupcake shop. And so the points are that they, you know, they're going to make a profit of $5 on every cupcake that they sell. Before your business opens its doors, you know that you're going to have to buy some stuff. So they're going to have to buy an oven, some supplies, and some initial agreements so they can make this cupcake. And then also they're anticipating that for every existing customer, they'll gain 2 more new customers next month. Also, their goal is to hire their first employee by month 6. And then another goal is to rent space for the shop for the first 2 years, but then they plan on producing enough cupcakes that they'll be able to buy a facility for $500,000 sometime during year 3. So again, this is kind of like Steve's pins that you guys heard. some of these numbers are really crazy, but this helps you to recognize also for yourself. If you can see somebody else's craziness, then you can look at your own and say, you know what, this just really doesn't make sense. But this is kind of what you would need to do with assumptions. You need to make a list of assumptions of what you want for your business. In this particular cake, it's cupcake. So now that we see what the cupcake is, and I'm just going to speed through some stuff, you need to see your competition. So there's some links. Again, this PowerPoint is available to you. But here's some various assumptions. You could do aggressive. So that's when you forecast, and the forecast reflects that you will exceed your expectations, those lists that we just said. That you will maybe assume that your sales are going to grow by 10% each month, and that your aggressive forecast will be that your sales maybe grow by even 20 or more percent. So that's an aggressive assumption. Then you could do the moderate assumption, and this forecast will reflect your rationale projection. So it's basically saying, okay, I'm going to basically make 10% of sales, and so my sales are going to reflect that I kind of grow 10%. Real moderate, not as aggressive as that 20%. And then conservative is the forecast where you look at that your business is falling short. So there's a lot of businesses right now due to the COVID that they're even below conservative because they're at the place they got to shut down. So the forecast is reflecting that the business is falling short, and that they, are projecting 10% of sale, but this forecast now reflects that they're not even making their 10. And that 10 could be the break even or whatever, but they're not even making a 10. They're making 5% less or less. So you should do the same thing and putting together a series of assumptions, one aggressive, one moderate, and one conservative, so that then as you lay out your numbers and the thing that Ray has showed you how to do, you can do those on a spreadsheet and just lay out numbers and say, you know what, if I make this amount, this month, and be aggressive with one, be moderate with another one, and be conservative with another one, then your bottom line, your dollar, you can see if anything happens, this is what's going to happen to me. So in projections, again, you could do a spreadsheet or however you want to do it. You project your one-time expenses, so you're not going to have to buy furniture every day. So you know that you got some office furniture that you're going to purchase. Then your variable expenses is kind of like what it changes. And the change could be because you're not packaging as much as before, but your packaging is going to change. Even the cost of packaging may go. So your variable then is things that change. Your fixed is things that is done, So in the packaging, they're looking at $3 per unit. And it's based upon the amount of units sold. So that's the cost, a variable cost. Then the fixed non-labor cost, that's your rent. And anything that is going to be $700 a month, no matter what, unless the next year comes up and the landlord goes up on the rent. But that's a fixed recurring expense. It happens every month. It's not related to any salaries or anything. It just happens every month, and that's what you got to pay. So once you kind of get all of these together, this one shows the fixed recurring expenses labor costs. And if you don't know how much a person should get paid or something like that, I put on a link, Glassdoor. There's several of them out there. So you can see the range of how much people are making. So I kind of just threw some numbers in. The president, the person that's running it, a lead salesperson, and then maybe some representatives, some call center people to answer calls. So, you know, based upon our projections, the person that's running the company, of course, is, you know, really the one that's doing the business. So of course they're getting paid every month. But then the salesperson, remember in the first page, it said when they were gonna hire the salesperson. So they're not hiring that salesperson. If you start out in January, they're not hiring them until March, which means that these first 2 months, it's just the CEO. But then they, in that projection, and let me go back to so that we can look at this. It was that first page. In that projection, it talks about the goals of hiring the first employee by the 6th month, hiring then a salesperson, and that kind of thing. So these are the projections now that are in writing, that you're actually putting them on some kind of spreadsheet so you can see the numbers. So now they've got a salesperson, and then also they got some call reps, or at least one call rep. Okay, so here now you're able to lay it out. You're able to see the amount of expenses that you're going to spend on salary, and then now you can do the same thing with your revenue. And basically that's the revenue, or projecting pretty much how much money, or predicting how much money you're going to make. Sometimes that can be challenging, especially like with this COVID and all this other kind of stuff. People were not anticipating that their businesses would shut down for months at a time, but yet they still have expenses to pay and all of that. So, you know, when you're doing this and doing the forecasting, it could be challenging to predict, but that's the reason why you do an aggressive, a moderate, you know, that's why you do 3 different ones, so that you're able to actually show how you're going to make money if something happens. So, yeah, thank you. So basically, you know, you want to make sure that you make some realistic forecasting when you're doing it. You want to lay out everything that you know you're going to need. So if they're selling cupcakes, you know they got to have some salespeople, and especially now virtually, they got to help people to tell people, wow, this cupcake really tastes good, and to buy virtually, you know. So there's some challenges there. So you would write out your list as it relates to the projection. How many cupcakes am I going to sell? Will I have a variety of products? That's why we're talking about pivoting, that yeah, maybe you only sold one product, but the question is, can you sell a different kind of product to a different target audience and still make money without stretching you too far? So these are the things that you need to think about when you're doing projections. So in this particular case, you would write out an assumption. So assumption number 1, the number of sales figures were chosen by reasoning that the company would begin with 1 salesperson and would gradually build up to its sales force. So that's an assumption, that's how you're going to kind of gradually grow. Another assumption, number 2, the average salesperson's productivity, meaning how much they're going to sell, is 20 new customers a month. So those are assumption numbers that then you build into your spreadsheet, because that means if you got 1 salesperson and they're going to get 20 new customers a month, okay, so that means that they're generating, and whatever the cost of that cupcake is, they're generating then 20 times whatever the cost of that cupcake is. As you grow and you get more salespeople, then if that salesperson is supposed to do 20 and another salesperson is supposed to do 20, then that's how you begin to see your assumptions and also your predictions of what your business is going to look like. So I'm not going to go through all of this. I asked that you take the time.
Good. Could I interrupt for a second, Tamara?
Sure, sure.
So this factor of like figuring out some of the metrics relating to how much does an average customer buy, in terms of what they're going to purchase. Those are helpful numbers, okay? Because in essence, you can use that as a base, but you want to make sure that that base is somewhat accurate, and what in essence the scale factor is based upon. In other words, this might just be, might just have to start out with something, I kind of call it a here and now factor, okay? So let's just say that you've sold cupcakes before. This isn't a brand new thing you've never done before. You've sold cupcakes. Maybe you sold cupcakes at events, okay? So you want to capture that data. In other words, you want to know when you're selling stuff, in the here and now, how many customers am I getting a day, as an example, or at an event, as an example, and how much did each customer buy? So that way you can do some averaging, do some simple math, add things up and figure out, hey, this is kind of a base factor for making a start in terms of where I'm going to come from. You're not going to be, suddenly selling, 25 cupcakes at an event and then saying that, well, I'm going to start selling 500 cupcakes as soon as I open my doors. That ain't going to happen. So think about these scaling factors and think about your judgment in terms of interpreting what the scale factor should be. What's the base? How much is that customer going to buy? And how many customers are you going to have in a day or at an event, and kind of go from there.
Great. Thanks, Ray. So this that's written out in Word is in a script is now put into an Excel spreadsheet or whatever you want to do, so that you can see that here, January and February, you only have one salesperson. In March, now you have 2. In April, you have 3. In May, you have 6, So this shows the number of salespeople, the average sales productivity, let me go back here. The average productivity. So we already said that each salesperson is going to bring in 20 new customers per month. So this is how you look at your numbers, that the average sales productivity is 20 across the board. So each person is bringing that in, and then the number of customers. So since it's a salesperson, their productivity is 20, then the expectation, and I keep hitting this, the expectation is then 20 new customers. In February is still one salesperson, so it's 20 new customers. But in March, now you have 2 salespeople. The productivity is still the same, 20, but now with 2 salespersons, you're getting 40 new customers, okay? And so that number multiplies as you go. Then the number of customers who buy product number 1, so you got 2 products. You got a cupcake, you got a chocolate cupcake, and you got a vanilla cupcake, okay? So now you make the assumption, and this could be, that's why people do these tests. They go to the grocery store. That's also one of the assignments I asked you guys to do, was to test your business plan, do a survey, did you like that or didn't you not like that? This is how you can come up with assumptions of what maybe people will buy as well. So in this particular scenario, they're projecting that 70% of their customers are going to buy product number 1, because product number 1 is that strawberry cupcake that just everybody loves it and they sell out of it. But then product number 2, maybe it's a new product. They're trying it out. It's something that they haven't done before, or it's not as popular as the other one. So they're only projecting 30%. So that they can get an overall 100% of their product, okay? So then they're looking at the number of products sold, being 14 for that month for product number 1, and then 6 for product number 2. And then the baseline is how much is that product? These are very, very, very expensive cupcakes. So, they're anticipating that it's the cost of this and what it's going to cost based upon the percentage that they're anticipating that they're going to make a certain amount across the board. Okay. So the same thing you have to do when projecting your expenses. So this takes time. This takes time where you might literally have to literally write this out. And once you write it out, then you actually go and put it on a spreadsheet so that you can see the numbers. Because once you see the numbers, then you can kind of figure out what's going to happen. You'll see this continually. The financial statements, this is what Ray has been working with you on. Everything is interconnected. That's why he says he likes live plan, because when you put the numbers in, then the next spreadsheet and live plan, it connects those numbers. And if you've been working in not live plan, you see how they're working. You see that if you put a number in, then it changes the other numbers. And if you change that number, they'll change it again. But understanding that your income statement, your cash flow statement, your balance sheet, all those work together. So as you're doing certain numbers with one, it's going to affect the other, and your balance sheet, all of it works together. They're all interconnected. And so once you understand and get that concept, then you'll really see how in the projection you can project your business growth, because now you're looking at it monthly. So nothing's going to sneak up on you, and nothing's going to be a surprise. So that even if something, you see those numbers and they're going down, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I see something changing. Then you can look at your other assumptions and say, okay, maybe I should just go moderate. I shouldn't be aggressive right now. Maybe, and that you make those changes based upon what you're seeing, so you don't get caught off guard. Because if you get caught off guard, like a lot of businesses are now, especially your business, your retail business, your restaurants, people like that, when you get caught off guard where you cannot open the door, and your traditional customer is the person that normally walks in and gets a cupcake and a cup of coffee, and now they can't really do that, then that changes your numbers until you figure out a way that they still come into the store. I watch Food Network, and I watch the guy Irvine or whatever, Mission Impossible or whatever, and where he goes and fix up restaurants and stuff. And last night he had helped this guy and his wife do their restaurant and get it fixed up. And so he went back to see how they were doing with the COVID. And he said, we're not doing well. We basically are at a loss, and if we won't be able to manage. And so he helped them to understand, even with the COVID, just the way their place was somewhat nice, but because it didn't look secure. So he was like, all this stuff on your window needs to come off. All you need to have is stay in your car. We'll call you when your food is ready. Have the signs on the floor. So he started helping them, and then he tastes their menu, and he was like, okay, if you're doing delivery, the food that you're putting in a plastic thing, after 20 minutes, it's watery, it's cold, it's, and so he helped them to pivot their menu so that either takeout or you sit in the restaurant, it tastes the same. And from there, they have been now growing because of these minor changes. And they have a walk up where people can walk up, get their food, but it's social distance. They don't stand at the window. They say what they need. They get a ticket number, and they make their payment, and then they go wait in the car. And then they have electronic now. He brought in an electronic system so that then when their order's ready, it texts them on their cell phone and say, your order's ready. And then they have a person at the door so they don't even have to come back in the place to give them their food, or either they take it out. So a whole, there, you got to figure out how to service your customer that traditionally was maybe the one that you they came into your place, or you provided services to them, but you can't do that anymore. You got to figure out how to alternate. So, watch Mission Impossible, or whatever it's called, on the Food Network. It's pretty good. So
Okay.
I'm gonna stop
Restaurant
there.
Impossible.
Huh?
Restaurant Impossible.
Yeah, Restaurant Impossible. So
I just wanted to point something out, kind of relates to what I call the cumulative effect. So like if you go back to your spreadsheet, the previous slide, okay? So if you think about incremental things, like this customer, this person who's now helping you, they're going to increase by 20 new customers each month. So that cumulatively, you could think that okay, the first month would be 380, but then the next month would actually be twice that. Okay, and that's one way of looking at it and building it up. But the thing about things that things don't always accumulate at the same rate. Okay, and so you have to be mindful of that. So if this is your plan, okay, and you're thinking about this as being something that's going to be a building block approach, that's fine. But also consider there could be a like a COVID impact or a seasonal impact, if you will, in the real world, where suddenly this volume just drops off quite a bit, and so you want to be on top of those things and be aware of them. But the cumulative effect is very important in terms of thinking about how much growth this is really taking off, and do you have the resources to handle that growth? In other words, this might be a thing with, hey, can I get my supplies? I have to pay for my supplies before I make the product, and so I need more supplies. That means I need more working capital. So there's cumulative effects on costs as well as cumulative effects on revenue.
yeah, okay. So I think that's pretty much all that I'm gonna do. I would ask that you guys kind of go through the rest of the PowerPoint, because it talks about profitability, understanding that when you make a profit, then you minus your expenses, so that then you can see what your actual profit is or position that you're in. And if you can understand that, then the whole goal is to never run out of cash. So go through this PowerPoint. And if you have questions about it, you can always reach out to us so that we can explain it or go step by step with you, figure out how to do this PowerPoint, so that then you can put your business in there instead of cupcakes, that you put your business in there. It's just another way. It's a case study, but it's another way that you can actually begin to really have a realistic view on how to do this. So if you need to grab this, it's on the platform, and it's called Financial Forecasting. So it's on the bottom there. So you just click on it. It's a PowerPoint. So you click on it and you'll be able to pull it up. And the same thing with Ray's case study for answers and questions. It's on there as well. So all you have to do is click on it and download it to your computer. Okay. So in most of everything that we've asked, or worksheets that you need, are here on the platform. The test business plan, this is something that you should be working on now. Hopefully everybody has gone in a live plan and start building their business plan. If you have not, please do it. Please do it. Okay, we need to be able to see that you're at least working on it. So go in the live plan, try to import some of your information into live plan. If you have an existing business plan, it's a good start to at least copy and paste that information into those live plan slots. Allow us then to, be able to work with you. I've read through a few of you guys and made brief comments. So we'll be doing that as well. But try to complete the plan. So whatever questions that they're asking for, try to answer those questions. They don't have to be long and lengthy, but try to answer those questions and try to get your business plan done to a point that you can actually put in a cover page and actually see it in a final final draft format. But then the test business plan document, this is the worksheet that we're asking you to get done by next week sometime or before we finish this class. This is what it looks like. It's a test business plan worksheet. It's basically for you to go out and kind of test. You know, what is the name of your product or what is the name of your services? So it doesn't have to be like a literal tangible product, but what is the name of your product or services? How much does it cost? Is it by month? Is it annually? Whatever the case is, you put that information in there. What do you offer? So based upon whatever this product or services are, list what the services are and what you offer. Quality of expectation. So what are you expecting to deliver? How high scale is this? And then you need to be able to share this information with other people that know you already and ask them to give you feedback, you know, and this could be either you making a phone call or shooting an email and saying, hey, you know, I offer this service. You've used it before. You know, what were you expecting? Can you give me some feedback? Did you get what you needed? Did you not get what you needed? What else did you need? You know, and you put this on your worksheet. Okay. So we need to get this done by next Friday, have all that completed and actually send it to us. So you're gonna download it on your computer, type out the information, save it, and then send it back to us. And so we'll have that information. So basically everything else in here, hopefully you've tackled or you looked at. The other thing that's gonna be coming up next week, prepping you before we get into the 6th week, is the elevator pitch. So now LivePlan has the pitch page as well. So you could use a LivePlan pitch. This document here is through Growth Wheel. It helps you to kind of figure out what to say in a pitch. So there's some things where you can literally save this on your computer, download it, then start typing. Because if you start typing and you don't save it or download it, it won't save. And then when you send it to us, it's going to be blank. So you need to save it, put it on your computer, and then start typing into it. But you can start adding this, and then at the bottom it says formulation of an elevator pitch. So then you actually take the information from the top, the finished sentences, put it at the bottom, and then it gives you a brief paragraph or something of what you would say in a pitch. So we want you to utilize that to be able to, you know, go in there. But also, if you prefer to use LivePlan, and I'm going to go to LivePlan. If you prefer to use the LivePlan has it as well. So make sure you're exploring all of this when you're going through. These tools are, you know, these are top of the line tools. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing being able to do these tools, because after you're done with this class, LivePlan won't be available to you anymore. So you want to be able to make sure that you're, you know, utilizing these tools, that you're able to make sure that everything is going to, you know, fitting in together. But in your pitch section, your pitch tab, as you build information in here, this information, then you could use this for your pitch. So that last week, we're going to be doing pitches. So you're going to be talking to us and pitching your business to us so that you can get comfortable with pitching to an audience. So you could use LivePlan for your pitch, or you could use a growth wheel sheet that I just showed you. It's up to you how you want to use it I like Live Plan because it's nice and it's put together. And some of you have actually already done and start building your pitch, which is great. So this will be really easy. In Live Plan, if you wanted to do more of a presentation, you can actually take what you typed in and export it to a PowerPoint. So when you do your pitch, it'll be a PowerPoint. And it won't be this sheet here, but it will be a PowerPoint. So you can actually present, and then when we do the presentations, you can actually show your presentation in a PowerPoint for your pitch. So again, it's up to you what you feel comfortable with, but we will be prepping you and letting you know that you're going to be doing a pitch of your business, okay? So I just wanted to take you through that. Are there any questions? Any things that you have questions about, challenges, anything like that? Keep up with the library, the content library, because we've added some stuff. This month is National Black Business and Diversity Awareness. So there's some stuff in there for you there. So look at the library. We're still adding stuff as we go along. The recordings are there. So we'll be adding this weekend, week 4's recordings. So make sure you're checking out the library as well to get additional information outside of the attachments and the documents that we have for for you on the form. Okay, any questions? Nope.
Laura, I have a question.
Yep.
Like I wanted to send like the state of Illinois document that has, it's kind of like the handbook on how to start a business.
Mm-hmm.
That document, it's like a magazine. If I want to send that to a client, can I take it off of the system, the system where it's on now, and can I send it to someone else, or is it just
Is this person in the class, or is this just a
no?
regular
No,
client?
they're not in the class.
Yeah, no, I can send you the attachment so that then you can forward the attachment.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just send you the attachment.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And in fact, one of your clients, I actually sent her the book the other day, and I CC'd you on it, so you can grab it from there too.
I'll look on there. I'll look
Okay.
on my messages.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sure. So last thing I want to cover is the scholarships. So the SBDC that's basically hosting this this cohort covered in the budget for some small dollar amounts to do some service scholarships. Okay. So we are going to start launching that and getting that going for this class. So this is kind of what it's made up of, so you can get an idea that we have a consultant, a company that is going to cover these services, basic services. So for the basic workshop, a website builder, up to $500, a logo and branding designer, up to $200, graphic design for business card, brochure, or flyers, up to $250, social media manager, somebody to kind of manage your social media posts for 30 days on 2 of your social media accounts, meaning if you have Facebook, if you have I don't know, Instagram, whatever your social media accounts are, 2 of those, and do posts for you for up to 30 days. And then the e-commerce developer, basically if you have a shopping cart or you're selling products and you need to sell those, they will work with you to complete you know, and it could be more than it don't have to be Shopify. It could be another cart, but basically where people can buy up to 10 to 15 products. So they'll build up to 10 to 15 products for you on an e-commerce developer and up to that. So they've given us the prices for basic of what they can provide for each student. You have to pick one of these. So if you want all of them, then you can pay for the rest. But you through this scholarship and the service scholarship that SBDC is paying for, it will cover the cost of one of these. Okay. So how does this work? In order to qualify for the scholarship, you must complete your business plan by August 14th. Okay, so you need to start putting stuff in there. So if you haven't put anything in Live Plan, anything in your business, you need to start doing that now if you want the scholarship. Okay, so that's the deadline for that, which is what, next week? Okay, so you need to start building your information, putting it into Live Plan. Again, we're recognizing that it might not be pristine and perfect, but at least you have something in there. At least you made the attempt to try to complete all the areas and putting information in, particularly the financials. So you're trying to do that. That's why I encourage you to meet with us, set up appointments with us, shoot us an email if you can't reach us through the platform, whatever the case may be. And you have our emails, because when you get the announcements I send, everybody's email is on there, including me, Rhea, and Ray. So you can pull that email and send an email. So you have our email addresses if you need to email us, okay, without using the platform, because sometimes you guys are saying you're having a problem, we're not responding back to you via the platform, send us an email. And we'll definitely get back to you that way. Then you want to, after, so you're working on your business plan, then you want to complete an intake form, and you need to get that back to us by next Tuesday by 11:59 p.m. Okay, so because we need to give the consultant the projects that need to be done, and that they can start working on it. The anticipation is they might not be done by the time the class is over with, because it's based upon what that needs to happen, but they would have at least started it. Okay, you can only choose one service. So you saw the list of services, you choose one of them, and then the scholarship is going to cover just the basic fees. So if you do find out you need additional hours or additional work, it's up to you to pay those additional fees. So we're going to cover just the basic. And then if you find out you need additional hours or additional work and you want to work with that consultant, that's fine. Or you can actually find somebody else to work with you to get it completed. Okay. So the consultant team that we're working with is called COD Interactive. That's the company. And so they will be providing those services to you. So I put into this, and I pulled this from the platform, so you can download this. There is a link to the intake form. So when you click on the link, it's only 2 questions basically. One is saying, give us your address, city, state, all that. And then the other is basically saying, choose which service you want. Okay. So it's not a intake form that has you're going to actually get a more detailed intake form that COD Interactive is going to send you. Based upon what you choose, then they're going to ask certain information about website and all of that, and they're going to work with you in order to get the assignment done. So any questions? No questions? Wow. Okay.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Tamara.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yep.
So okay, like if we are ready. I just started working with somebody for my website.
Okay,
We just started last week.
okay.
Continue going with this person, or do I have to go with Kai?
We signed a MOU agreement with COD, so that's who we have to work with because they work out, because these aren't big dollars. So you would have to use COD to do whatever you need to get done because we've done a MOU agreement with them.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. But I didn't get too far. We just picked out my domain name.
Okay.
So that's as far as we got. So
Okay. So the other thing is to think about, $500 is not a lot for a basic website. Usually they cost sometimes a little bit more. So the thing is to think about, COD will be willing to share files. So once it's completed or once what they done, if you then want to bring in somebody else because they're going to give you your files or whatever they're working on, you can then give them to whoever you're working with so that you don't have to start from bottom, ground level. So that's another option. So they have agreed that any files or any development that they're doing, they're going to give us, you'll get that. So that then if you need to go somewhere else and you don't want to use COD, then you can do it that way. They have, if you go to, I'll send you the link in an email, COD Interactive. You can actually go to their website and you can see the services and the things that they offer. And if you want to, after they've done the basic, if you want to still bring them on to do your other stuff, then that's what you would negotiate with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So hopefully, this isn't like a big list of things, but, these are kind of basic things that most small businesses have a need of, particularly like with graphic design. Again, it's not a lot of money, but if you do need some help with a business card or brochure or flyer or something like that, normally and Ria's going to share with you next week, this stuff is very expensive, especially if you're hiring somebody to do it. Websites can be very expensive if you really go for the kind of professional look, or if you want to try to do it yourself, because there's plenty of website builders out there where you can do your own website. But again, do you have the time and the patience to deal with that? Those are things that you want to consider. But this is just kind of service scholarships to go along with the class in order to help you, give you some additional things. When you fill out the intake form, make sure that you provide a mailing address, not a PO, but a mailing address, because we have some books, business books kind of stuff that we're going to mail to you directly, okay, to your home or wherever you wanted to go. So there are some books that we're going to send you. So I need to have the correct mailing address, and not a PO box, a regular mailing address, so that then we can mail you the book. So that's a part of what you get out the class. So you get the services and you get some books, okay? And when you fill out that intake form, make sure you fill out that information, because we're going to start prepping to mail you out these business books as soon as possible, because we know with mail delivery and all that, everything's been slow. But we're hoping that by next week, we'll start moving on that and mailing that information so that then you get your books in a reasonable amount of time. Okay? Any other questions, any other thoughts, any other challenges, things that we didn't cover, you want to cover? as we're winding this up. I think this has been a great class. You guys have been great, and working with us. I'm happy that we were able to get through this, and hopefully we have that last week. We're going to have you to fill out another kind of comment survey. How did the class go? What worked? What didn't work? Do you have a success story? Has this helped you pivot a bit, or a lot? So we're going to we need to get that, because we have to prove that this helps somebody. And so that's what the state is looking for, that there are people out there that need help and that we're trying to help them. So that's what we need in order to prove to them, yes, this works. Let's do more of this. Let's expand this. Let's help more people. Let's do more scholarships. Let's up the ante on the scholarships. So I need to have all of that information so I can begin to share it with the state of Illinois. Okay. Let's see. Question. Right now, not sure if it's going to be a part 2. We're going to start a second cohort that'll probably start around September. Again, the max is going to be 15 people. So if you want to do a repeat of this, it's going to be the same thing. But if you want to do a repeat, then we'll send out, just like we did before, the registration forms, and you'll register to try to get into the repeat. And so we're going to try to get new people first, but if we have some people from this cohort that want to get back in, and we have some seats left, then we'll enroll you for the second cohort. Okay? Any other questions? All righty. Okay, so we've done good. It's 10:59. We're closing out. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Make sure you get your documents in. Make sure you start working on Live Plan. We need that in order for you to even get the scholarships. We need for you to put something in Live Plan and start working on that. So get all of that in, get all of that done. Thank you so much. You stay safe as well. And we'll see you on Tuesday. See ya. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.